So this week is Sexual Health Week. Sexual Health Week is run every year by a charity called Brook, and there's a theme every single year, and this year the theme is consent. And I wanted to mix it up a bit because consent is often framed as men trying to get consent from women to have sex. And whilst of course there are loads of situations where that is exactly what's going to happen, there are plenty which aren't. And one of those is actually men not wanting sex in the first place. This happens a lot more often than you might think it does. And actually, a lot of the time, the men go through the sex because they don't think saying no is the right thing. That could be for all sorts of reasons, including that there's this idea that men want sex all the time. And therefore, if you are actually somebody who doesn't want sex, especially if it's with an attractive woman, then you are less of a man. Well, it's not true. Not wanting sex and saying no specifically to sex doesn't make you less of a man. Frankly, I think it makes you more of a man. Just before I go any further, I'd like to say my name is Andy. I do sex education videos on this channel very often, so that means you should stick around and you will learn stuff. So there are loads of reasons why a man might not want sex. One of them is that, you know what, he's just not really into it. He's got a headache. Literally has a headache, you know. If you're in a relationship with a man and he doesn't want sex, it doesn't mean he doesn't like you, doesn't fancy you. Nothing like that at all. It just means he doesn't want sex that night. And although all of this that I've just said should be super duper obvious, often it isn't, is it? Men often don't have the agency to say no. They may not even be asked by their partners for consent. And given it is Sexual Health Week, and we're talking about consent this week, that's why I wanted to bring this up. I say on this channel quite a lot that consent is a willing and enthusiastic yes. And that is true. But how often is that applied in the context of men asking women? Quite a lot of the time. It's hardly ever put in the context of women asking men. And that's got to change, you know. There are a few things which people take to being consent, which actually aren't. One of them is erections. Erections aren't always caused by arousal. They can be caused by arousal, but aren't always. A healthy person with a penis will have an erection 8 to 10 times a day. Some of them are while they are sleeping. Some of them aren't like full-on boners, you know, rock hard stuff. They're just little semis, as we would say. But none of these are consent. None of them are actually arousal half the time. So just because your partner has an erection doesn't mean they are agreeing to have sex with you or agreeing to even be touched down there. There is no consent unless you are asking for it. As I've said in other videos, that doesn't have to be verbal, but there certainly has to be interaction and there has to be obvious consent. So all the things that men often get thrown at them about consent and about power and all the rest of it can be applied in some situations about women as well. You know, we're talking about kind of situations where your boss is a woman and they're trying to get you to do something and they're using sex as a tool for that. It's as unacceptable. You know, you cannot give consent in that situation. You are, you know, being coerced. It wouldn't fall in the category of willing and enthusiastic. Other reasons why men might not want sex are similar to why women wouldn't want sex. So one of the top reasons why people with wombs don't want to have sex is because they can get pregnant and they don't want to get pregnant. Well, that's also a valid consideration for somebody with a penis. If you have a penis and you're having sex with somebody with a womb, you could get them pregnant and you don't necessarily want that to happen. There are plenty of stories of people with penises, people with testicles having vasectomies, not telling their significant others about that in order that they don't get their wife or their girlfriend or their partner pregnant. But of course, if they haven't got a vasectomy and there isn't any other contraception that they're using, then they might not want to have sex as a contraception method. Perfectly reasonable contraception method. The reason why they can't tell their partners is they don't have this agency to tell their partners. They think that, you know, they are less of a man for having vasectomy or not wanting the sex, not wanting to get you pregnant. It's a weird kind of dichotomy that we found ourselves in. There are situations, loads of situations, much more than you might think, where it's the person with the penis trying not to get the person with the womb pregnant. But another good reason why, a man might not want sex is because they just aren't confident enough. Not necessarily that they haven't had a lot of sex, they might have lots of sex, but they aren't confident with you, or they're not confident with sex in general. They've had a lot of bad sex. And whilst confidence is something which, you might want to work on, it's not going to appear in every single given situation. That doesn't mean that man doesn't find the person that they're asking for sex any less attractive, sexy, or anything else. They're just not confident and want to have sex that night. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make them less of a man. And that is the main takeaway of this video. There is no reason why a man shouldn't be able to refuse sex. But the assumption in society is that they want sex all the time. So therefore, a lot of the time, they are pushed into it in some way. It doesn't have to be sexual assault or rape for somebody to not want the sex. It can be authentic consent. They've gone along with it, they kind of said yes, but you don't really want to say that. It's in that situation where men currently are empowered to say no, but they should be. They should have the agency and the power to say so. If you're looking for more resources on consent, there are links that I'm going to put in the description to various things, not just Sexual Health Week, but also other accounts that have talked about this kind of thing, Instagram, Twitter, that kind of thing. I'll put them in the description below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. You can do that just down below. And also you can go down there to comment. What do you think? Do you think men have the agency to say no or not? I make videos regularly, so subscribe and click the bell icon so you know when I next upload. And there might be something extra coming this week, so keep an eye out for that. And therefore, I might see you then. See you next time. Bye-bye.